Oogarding is a heritage-listed villa at 100 Simpsons Road, Bardon, City of Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. It was designed by architect Mervyn Rylance and built in 1940 by Jan Cupka. It was extended in 1964 and 1965. It was added to the Queensland Heritage Register on June 23, 2000. Oogarding, a two-story, rendered masonry house in the Mediterranean Revival style, was built in 1940-41 to the design of architect Mervyn Rylance. The house is prominently located on a sharp bend in Simpsons Road in the Brisbane suburb of Bardon and is set on a large block of land, against a stand of tall gum trees. In 1940, Rylance was commissioned by Mr. James Gerb, Joyce and Mrs. Edith Joyce to design a house for them on a 1-acre allotment which had been subdivided from the Joyce family property in Bardon. Gerb Joyce was a well-known Brisbane business identity and owner of the Heliton Spa soft drink company. The Joyces named their new house Oogarding, the Aboriginal name for the spot at which they owed their fortune. It appears that the Joyces commissioned Rylance on the recommendation of the builder Mr. Jan Cupka. Cupka had constructed at least 3 other buildings designed by Rylance around this time. Rylance opened his architectural practice in Brisbane in 1933 and domestic commissions formed the basis of his practice. In the period up until World War II, he designed a number of relatively expensive and substantial homes in both the English and Mediterranean styles. The Mediterranean style established itself strongly in the temperate parts of Australia in the interwar period. This was largely due to the efforts of its central proponent, Professor Leslie Wilkinson, and through his position as the first chair of architecture at an Australian university. Wilkinson was able to influence many architects with his ideas about the suitability of Mediterranean-styled architecture for the Australian climate. In effect, the style was a regionalisation of Georgian domestic architecture and avoided blatant Mediterranean features such as those adopted in Spanish mission architecture, preferring classical details, smooth render, soft tones and round arches that simply evoked a Mediterranean feeling. Mervyn Rylance was one of these young architects influenced by Wilkinson's ideas. Although he was born in Brisbane, Rylance was educated in Sydney and England and was an articled pupil with Jose Land and Gilling Architects in Sydney. F. Glim Gilling was recognized as a leading practitioner of the Mediterranean style, and his Woolcock Forbes house was to have a lasting influence on Rylance. Very few pure Mediterranean-style houses were built in Brisbane, and Rylance was responsible for the design of a number of key examples, including the Blanchard House at 43 Maxwell Street, New Farm, the Bartlett House at 390 Swan Road, St. Lucia, and Oogarding. The house was constructed by Mr. Jan Cupka, and it appears to have been built on the basis of a negotiated contract as no tender was advertised. When interviewed in 1995, Mrs. Joyce remembered Rylance as a dedicated professional, attending the site every couple of days during the 9-month construction period. He personally applied the faux stone finish to the fireplace, throwing sand at the wet render and ruling in the joints with his pencil. In 1964, a new family room was added to the southeast corner of the house, to the specification of Terence Reid. Later in 1965, Hayes, Scott and Henderson architects designed a new garage, front terrace, and other landscape works and remodeled the kitchen. The Joyce family lived in the house from its construction until 1999, when the house was bought by the Gastine family. Oogarding is a substantial 2-story residence with basement designed in the Mediterranean style. It is constructed of load-bearing masonry that has been smooth rendered, recently re-rendered and painted in a creamy tone. The medium-pitched roof is clad in glazed terracotta Marseilles pattern tiles and has exposed rafter ends that are decoratively shaped on the front elevation and agricultural pipe vents set in a diamond pattern in the gable ends. The entrance door is a significant feature and is strongly expressed with raised rendered decoration to resemble substantial masonry surrounding the paneled door. The door, designed by Rylance, has 8 square panels which are repeated in the form of a vertical strip of 4 square windows on either side of the door. The door is surmounted by a lead light fanlight with the name of the house incorporated into the design. In plan, the house has an offset cruciform shape with the entry positioned at the core of the house on the western side. A sunken passageway leads from the front door to a hall that leads, through large openings, to the dining room, lounge room, and terrace, as well as to the stairs to the upper floor. Each of these major public rooms occupy an arm of the cross in plan, and the lounge in particular is generously proportioned. The dining room and lounge room are linked by timber and glass sliding doors with arched heads. An ornate fireplace with a faux stone finish and molded decoration is a prominent feature of the lounge room, as are the decorative plaster ceilings of both public rooms. The terrace is a semi-enclosed room with a short arcade of 3 arched openings on the northern wall and single arches on the eastern and western walls. The suspended timber floors are red stringy bark and covering tiles have recently been removed from several areas. All joinery and moldings in the house are silky oak, apart from the handrail which is maple. The house was originally designed to cater for a family served by a maid, and a secondary circulation route links the main public rooms with the kitchen and laundry areas. A bathroom is located between these utility areas in public areas and has a small antechamber adjacent to it. Renovations in the 1960s relocated the kitchen further to the southeast edge of the house, in the position formerly occupied by the maid's room. A round arched loggia links the utility areas to the garage, which provides accommodation for 3 cars. The second story accommodates 4 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a sleepout. The expansive main bedroom is located directly above the lounge room in the northeast corner and has several built-in cupboards. The highly detailed bathroom has an alcove bath, a built-in shower recess, a decorative sandblasted mirror designed by the architect, and a strong single-color scheme of carefully detailed blue tiles. On the exterior, the main bedroom projects slightly and is supported by corbels. On the northern wall, multi-pane French doors open out to a small semicircular Juliet balcony. These doors are surrounded with raised rendered decorations similar to that around the front entry door. Windows throughout the house are generally multi-pane timber sash and casement windows, and most have external timber loop shutters. This description was prepared on the basis of documentary evidence only. The place was not inspected. Oogarding was listed on the Queensland Heritage Register on June 23, 2000, having satisfied the following criteria. The place is important in demonstrating the evolution or pattern of Queensland's history. Oogarding demonstrates the principal characteristic of a substantial, interwar Mediterranean-style residence with important style indicators such as asymmetrical massing, cement-rendered masonry construction and Marseille's tiled roof, strongly expressed main entry door, round-arched and arcaded loggia, Juliet balcony and multi-paned, double-hung windows with looped timber shutters. Oogarding is important because of its aesthetic significance, due to its fine and restrained design, careful detailing, high-quality and distinctive interior fittings and garden setting. The house has significance as a surviving intact example of the work of important interwar Queensland architect, Mervyn Rylance, and is considered among the best examples of his work and a key example of Mediterranean-style architecture in Queensland. The place is important in demonstrating the principal characteristics of a particular class of cultural places. Oogarding demonstrates the principal characteristic of a substantial, interwar Mediterranean-style residence with important style indicators such as asymmetrical massing, cement-rendered masonry construction and Marseille's tiled roof, strongly expressed main entry door, round-arched and arcaded loggia, Juliet balcony and multi-paned, double-hung windows with looped timber shutters. The place is important because of its aesthetic significance. Oogarding is important because of its aesthetic significance, due to its fine and restrained design, careful detailing, high-quality and distinctive interior fittings and garden setting. The place has a special association with the life or work of a particular person, group, or organization of importance in Queensland's history. The house has significance as a surviving intact example of the work of important interwar Queensland architect, Mervyn Rylance, and is considered among the best examples of his work and a key example of Mediterranean-style architecture in Queensland. This Wikipedia article was originally based on the Queensland Heritage Register published by the State of Queensland under CC-BY 3.0 AU license, accessed on July 7, 2014, archived on October 8, 2014. The geocoordinates were originally computed from the Queensland Heritage Register boundaries published by the State of Queensland under CC-BY 3.0 AU license, accessed on September 5, 2014, archived on October 15, 2014.